Hello, my name is Leslie Searier here at the Addison Public Library, and we are so excited today to have representatives from Addison Trail High School and District 88 joining us. Can you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Good evening. My name is Mike Bolden, principal here at Addison Trail High School.
And I'm Jean Barbanente, the interim superintendent for District 88.
Again, thank you both so much for joining us. We're so excited to learn a little bit about the district as well as the high school, as you play such a large role in our community. To start off, can you tell us about the history of Addison Trail High School and District 88?
Sure. We can share a little bit of the history. So really the history of the district started back in 1918 when the voters approved the creation of a high school district for Elmhurst and Villa Park area. And actually, the origins of our district include York High School. So York was originally part of the same district, and so York was opened in 1920, and then Willowbrook in 1959, and Addison Trail in 1966. Then in 1974, York High School became part of the Elmhurst Community Unit District. And then, since then it's been Addison Trail and Willowbrook High School, which is located in Villa Park. And in 2007, the District 88 Board of Ed approved to move forward with a $115 million Building the Future project and referendum, which was supported by the community. And that was a huge, modernization of the buildings and had some, new beautiful features to the facilities for our students. And so that was a really, really special time for the district. And we're still really seeing the benefits every day of that project. We have a beautiful new commons and sports facilities and a field house that we didn't have before, that is able to be used by the students in the community as well. So that kind of brings us, to today in terms of District 88. So a long history here in the community here in Addison.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that it's already been 10 years since we've completed, going on 11 years since we've completed the renovations that Dr. Barbanente spoke about. Time definitely flies, and Addison Trail, specific to our community of Addison here, is the youngest of what was 3 schools in the district: York, Willowbrook, and Addison Trail. The youngest one, not too long ago, we had celebrated our 50th anniversary and invited alumni back from all the different decades to celebrate our history here in Addison Trail. And all over our history, since Addison Trail was established in 1966, we've had a total of 9 different principals. We started back with Dr. Cook, who was also served as a superintendent of District 88, followed by Fru Brown from 1972 to 1976, Larry Weck from 1976 to 1983, Mr. Don Lane from 1983 to 1993. Neil Codell was principal here at Addison Trail from 93 through 1997, followed by James Mortier from 1997 to 2001, and then Dr. Helton, who served as principal here at Addison Trail from 2001 to 2012, and then moved on to be the superintendent of District 88. And then after him as principal, it was Dr. Adam Sabolka, who was principal from 2012 to 2015, and then myself, who've been in this position as principal of Addison Trail since 2015. So a total of 9 principals at Addison Trail High School over the history since 1966.
That is like a super impressive history. As a history major, I always love the timeline and stuff. So that I really appreciate you sharing all of that with us. Can you talk a little bit about the ways that the school connects within the Addison community?
Sure. In addition to having very robust parent programming, so we have more than most places, I believe. Not only in our, we have our CAC groups for the advisory groups for the principals. We also have our TPO and booster groups, which are a huge help to the district. We also have a very robust Latino parent outreach program for our Spanish-speaking parents, and now with Zoom, now we're able to connect across the district. So we do a lot more, joint district parent groups as well. But over the years, we've had different parent trainings and leadership opportunities, and also a lot of support for parents. We try to offer as much in terms of college and career support, hands-on assistance with FAFSA, financial aid options. We send our kids all over the country for college, and really know that many of our students are the first in their families to attend college. So we really try to provide a lot of hands-on support, as well as even in the mental health front for just parents that are looking for strategies to how to support their students in their education. On the community side, we have tremendous partnerships in Addison. It's something that we don't take for granted. It's really special what we have in this community. Not only with the intergovernmental agencies, we have partnerships with the police department and the village. Everything from safety task forces. We just had our safety team together with the village and the police and the fire district. We just won an award of excellence at the state board level for our work on joint projects related to school safety. And that's something that just doesn't happen in many places. We also have the Addison Resource Connect group, which is where all of many agencies in the community come together to kind of pool resources and support students and families. And you really just a strong history of collaboration. The Sister City Project, Addison has a sister city of Trujano. It's kind of one that's a little close to my heart. That's where my father's family came from, coincidentally. So I've been very involved in that project. I've been on that committee for a long time. And we have an exchange program with the high school in Trujano. And so we've received students and sent students back and forth on that exchange. So that's been another layer. And then just a really robust partnerships related to our special needs students and job opportunities. Addison is a very inclusive and welcoming community. Again, I think stands out. I think it's a very special community. And we have our students working on job sites all over the community, and they're welcomed and supported, as well as within all the government agencies. As well, the library, we have the Perks and Possibility Cafe with the library. The library has been a tremendous partner to us right across the parking lot, and our students run the cafe there in the lobby of the library. That's been a longstanding project. So just really great opportunities. I know Mike has other ones to share as well.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke of, there's so many. We can go on and do just a segment about the work that we do collaboratively between the high school and the village of Addison and all the different agencies here. But one of the things I think we're most proud of, and I model, and I have not seen it anywhere else in other districts, is as Jean talked about, our intergovernmental agreements. So all the intergovernmental groups get together quarterly to talk and share resources and understand. And from those partnerships, we work closely with the park district to help us for our swim team to be able to access a pool, and to work with the mayor's office so that we can help. In collaboration during COVID, we were out at various places within Addison handing out masks and information about protecting our families, to the workforce development, working together. We've built relationships from the high school with many of the businesses, not just the governmental agencies, but having such a large industrial park right here in Addison, we have partnered with them to take our students on job shadowing and opportunities to see different career paths, not just manufacturing and industry, but what does the CEO do? What does the chief financial officer do? What about accounting? You're interested in all these different career paths that we have these students who want to see what it looks like in a real work environment. And we've partnered with numerous businesses here in Addison to take them on, day field trips and mentoring programs through, as Jean pointed out, our Addison Resource Connect, and having that opportunity for businesses and individuals in our community to mentor some of our students. And that starts at junior high school at Indian Trail and continues on through their high school. So the list goes on, and it's something that is a strength, I think, for our community, for the taxpayers in Addison. It shows all these different agencies working together efficiently for the betterment of our community.
We also have a newsletter. We have a very talented director of community relations, Danny Brink. I would say she's really she's just a dynamo. She's just incredibly talented and creative. She puts out a newsletter every week of all of the happenings in the district and highlighting the successes and the special achievements of the students. That goes out in English and Spanish. And again, we try to share that across the community electronically, as well as in hard copy as well. at least prior to COVID. But that too has just been a way for us to continue to share and just connect with the community.
That's amazing. Everything you mentioned is fantastic. I love to tell people about your programs of getting students into the workforce, and we're really excited. We can't wait for Perks and Possibilities to open back up again. Can you now tell us a little bit about how the district has changed over the years?
Sure. So this is my 25th year in the district. So I can speak certainly from my time starting in 1995. So it's the demographic changes, across the community. So we are now one of the most diverse high school districts in the state of Illinois. So we have almost 40 languages represented in the district, and that's really I would say the rich, asset, to our community is that diversity that our kids bring with them, all different language backgrounds, cultures, race, religions, and represent different identities. And we're able to value that as a district, and we have built very inclusive environments and continue to work towards that. And that focus on seeing and valuing everyone's unique experiences, but also connecting across those differences is what the strength of Addison Trail and District 88 is. And that's really what I believe the most proud of. It's just really I would say the pride of the district. And that has, just in terms of the diversity, of what our students are bringing to us has really shifted. We've also seen over the years an increase in the number of students that come with hard situations, economic challenges. We see more economic challenges within the community, and so that has also driven a change the way we respond to that, to make sure that we have the most more supports available, and that our students' most basic needs are met before we know that that's necessary. That precedes learning. So we have to make sure that we're supporting students very comprehensively. And so that I would say that's probably the biggest shift that I've seen over the years.
Yeah, I would agree completely with everything she said. I think you summarized it all. I think the one thing that has changed in recent years academically is our emphasis on finding students the credentials, right? Not to just take high school for interest areas or what I'd like to take or this will be fun, but to really give them that college and career pathway and credentials. And we've increased the number of courses that kids take in high school to earn college credit. And so, while that's great and it sounds great that they can have more credits college earned before they even graduate, we know that it's the rigor of those courses that's going to prepare them for college and make them ready for whatever career path, whether it's college right after high school or maybe 3, 4, 5 years after they graduate high school, students decide to go to a university or community college. They're ready. They've had the rigor and the certifications here within our academic classes, from AP classes that we have throughout all of our core and even elective classes, to our vocational classes and our a variety of other classes that we have where students are learning. If it's not college credit, it's certifications that they've had, whether it's a food handler or food manager in some of our culinary classes, to ASE certifications in our automotive programs. It's showing that our students are achieving and working at a very high level and leave Addison Trail with credentials. We're really proud of that.
The focus really has been on, to Mike's point, it's rigor for all students, and from wherever they are, however they come to us with whatever, levels of proficiency they have, that we need to move them and accelerate them to the highest levels before they leave us. And for students, I think one of the unique things about District 88 is that our board has supported the comprehensive nature of what our programming needs to be to serve a very diverse community. And so that means that the very rigorous, our top end, we have students that top out in our curriculum and we need to partner with Elmhurst College and universities to get coursework up to Calculus 3 and those types of things to make sure they have what they need. And also, for our students that may not be going to a college situation, but have the most robust vocational opportunities and workforce credentialing pieces that we can offer. So, and within there, then there has to be also the supports and the creativity to look at alternative programming too, that students that maybe the traditional 8-period day is not a fit for them for whatever reason. So can we look at alternative ways to get students to the same rigor and the same credentialing and opportunities, but in a different way? And so we have been really added lots of we would say layers of interventions and different programming to make sure that that students are able to access the most rigor possible and get the most academic skills before they leave us. So that, I think, is what maybe sets us apart from some places, and our board has been really supportive of that. So we've been really blessed that way.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And your background says building futures, and that sounds exactly like what you're doing there for all of your students. So a question to both of you: what inspired you to become educators and then work for District 88 or Addison Trail, or both?
So I've only worked for District 88 in my career. So I'm a little unique in that way. I started at Addison Trail as an Italian and Spanish teacher back in 1995. And what inspired me initially to go into education was my language teacher in high school. I come from a background of Italian American background, but we didn't speak Italian in my home. So I started language learning in high school, and then added a few more languages as my career went on, and in my private life, just in terms of the access I've had over the years. So language study has been a big focus for me. Addison was the perfect community for me from a standpoint of it was the brand new Italian program, and at the time, and also over the years, then the sister city connection, and then also the connecting with the Latino community, the Spanish speaking community, and being able to work with to even bridge gaps over the years and help to make sure that all our families have access to our programs at a high level. And so that's over the years, then I went into the counseling. I had gotten a degree in school counseling, and I then was put in as the guidance director at Addison Trail. And so I saw the other side, the social emotional side of the kind of educational world. And for the first time, I was on home visits and saw some of the very challenging situations our students are bringing with them to school. And so that really changed then my perspective about a desire to go into leadership at that point, because knowing that the needs were so great, and I felt like I can contribute, in that way. And so I then went into, I was brought over to the district office in 2006, and I've been there for 15 years as a director and assistant superintendent. And so just having that, really that passion to serve the community, to connect kids and, help them overcome barriers and get on to, the most robust, post-secondary opportunities that we can offer them. But just it's been a real honor and privilege to serve this community for these past 25 years. And now in this role as interim superintendent, at this level as well.
Yeah, I got an education as it was something that many members in my family had, cousins, aunts, uncles. I was a first generation in my family to go to college of my parents. And so, I just had a great high school experience and had others that were going in there. I had a love of science, and, just put those two things together. And so I came out as a biology, chemistry, and physics teacher back in, 1993. I had the pleasure of doing my student teaching or my internship prior to getting my license with Scott, my mentor, and, our former superintendent. And so I had that experience to work with him during my student teaching, and then just had a career in the south suburbs, and was always looking for a new opportunity. So District 88 and Addison Trail was a third high school district that I've worked in. I've worked here longer than I've worked in any other district. More than about half of my career so far is now here in Addison, and it's just been great. I've learned so much, and it's been a great experience for me from the time I was a teacher all the way to a few different roles as assistant principals, both here and at other schools, and now as principal for the last 6 years. Has been just an incredible experience and journey.
Our community is very lucky to have both of you and your passion you bring to your jobs. Speaking of, can you tell us what your favorite part of your job is?
Oh, wow. I, for me, I think it's the being able to use, be creative and problem solve, that's a lot of what we do on a daily basis. And certainly our current circumstances, even with the pandemic, has pushed our thinking. We've had to really be out of the box to think about how to reinvent school in this environment. But really working with the families and students. And at this role, at the central office, I don't have as much student contact, so that's the highlight when I'm able to do that. But also working with staff and supporting them and championing them to be the best they can for our students. So I would say, there's a lot of upside. There's a lot of hard days, but there's a lot of upside to this role for sure.
I would say my favorite part of my job is just seeing students succeed. I think of when you ask that question, a few pictures jumped in my mind, and one is recently a student reaching out and sending me an email and individually, and he was so excited and so happy he got accepted into Yale University, one of our current seniors, and to know this young man has always done really well academically, but to have him reach a goal that he had set, a pretty lofty goal at that, and to achieve it is exciting. But whether it's that student going to Yale or, some other students that may have struggled and school was not right and there was a lot of things against them, I always think of graduation day and lining up and watching students in their cap and gown go across, and I have the pleasure of shaking every one of their hands, and I see them as they cross, and I remember them as freshmen coming in, or different events or encounters I've had with them over the years, to see that smile and to know they've made it, especially those who've had a lot against them, not of their own choice, just the circumstances they've been put in, to see them overcome those and succeed. I am so happy, and those are the memories that I currently have, and I'm sure I'll have all the rest of my life, of those students who have reached their goals, whether it's going to an Ivy League school or it's graduating and overcoming the obstacles that have been put in front of them. They're equally important and memorable to me.
I can't imagine that anyone watching this isn't smiling, listening to your answers. That's so wonderful. The one common theme among all the people we've interviewed is their passion for service. And I think that really defines our community very well, how much everyone is here to serve and help others. I know you touched on this a little bit, so I'm going to jump. What are some of your happiest memories from your job?
For me, the happiest memories, I think, one of the highlights, I guess, of my career, when we started to reinstate the opportunities for students to have more international experiences. It was something that I was at the district office already at the time, but because of my background, was something that I was heavily involved in, and so I was able to accompany the students on the Sister City Exchange, as well as the first trip that we had done to Spain after many years, and the being able to, for me, so that was one of the highlights of my career for sure. Students that had never been on an airplane before, who had, really worked hard in their language study to be at a level that they were able to, to earn this experience. And it just the look on their faces, as they contemplated these world wonders, coming out of the airport in Venice and having kids get onto a boat, and just the awe on their face. I mean, I would just never forget it was the most special moments I've spent as an educator, just watching them take in that and that experience and struggle to adapt to the culture and to a new language, and just everything they learned in that experience about not only traveling, but then hosting students. When sometimes when students come to our communities, they're not used to even the diversity within our communities, and watching our students host and be so proud of the Addison community, and just be so gracious in that level of being, of really diplomacy. They were like little ambassadors. It was really a special experience. And That coupled with, over my career, just the triumphs I have seen. And as I came to district office, there were many times that I was able to work with families whose students, were really struggling in our environment. And we had to really work to find, sometimes they had maybe special needs or different, needs that were more unique and didn't quite fit what we were able to offer on campus. And we'd have to look for other options and just, really working with those families, with those challenges when it's so stressful for parents at times when they're really trying to find the right fit for their students and trying to help students be successful. And those triumphant situations where we saw students that came out of really tough circumstances and went on to become teachers, went on to be, into competitive employment and to, situations where they were successful and happy and situated, and just to share in those victories with the families, what were some of the highlights for me in the last, in this latter part of my career at district office.
Yeah, I agree. It comes down to the memories, the ones I talked about, graduation and going across, but just generally as a building principal, high school, we all have our high school memories. You want teenagers to walk away and remember the rest of their life, the positive memories, the fun things, whether it's a Friday night at a football game, or it's a dance, or it's competitions. It's those. It's not one memory. It's the collection of memories that they have, and I think about that. And when I reflect on those and see those images or pictures, or I'm in the moment of those activities, just knowing that this is fun for them right now, but it's going to be one of those memories they hold on to for the rest of their life, and to know that I'm a part of that and providing that opportunity for them. Is what I take away as some of the happiest memories I have.
Wonderful. So I think this might be the hardest question we ask. Tell us what an average day of work looks like for you.
Well, pre-pandemic or currently in the pandemic, we have had, obviously, this has been a very hard time for the district, not only with the pandemic and how it's affected our families and our staff, and has really prohibited us from having in-person school on many levels, and our students missing out on so many activities and experiences. But then we of course had this also traumatic, situation happening with the loss of our beloved, superintendent in the middle of this. And so right now, our typical day is a lot of really long hours and working to look to see what over the next few months, really working on getting our kids back in person as much as we can in a phased approach. We also are looking at, we'll be participating in the vaccine distribution, we'll be in the next phase, our staff will be in the next phase. But our staff in the wake of all of this tragedy and grief, because our district is grieving, and for me personally, Scott Helton we've worked together for 20 years. He's like, it's like losing a sibling for me. It's a tremendous loss. But to see the way that our staff has come together and the community has come together to support us, there are no words to describe what has the support that's been offered us on so many levels. And so now it's really about keeping everyone positive and encouraged and supporting one another as we go into this next phase, which is unknown. We don't know when this is going to be over and what school is going to be like after this. And supporting those families that have suffered losses during this time, which we've seen a lot. Our kids have suffered some really hard situations, and as well as our staff members. And so it's really about, problem solving through the daily challenges, which are now the new normal. We have new challenges every day that present with this. And also then, finding the good things that have happened, the fact that we can connect all our parents through Zoom. We've had more parent participation during the pandemic probably than ever before, because they can just open a link and join us, as opposed to, even there's some that, even sometimes maybe in the past have had barriers because of work schedules and things, but we've seen a lot more participation. We're able to do more things across the district and connect, the schools much more. So our teams are working together differently. and really looking, and even in the future, we're going to be offering our first course, next in the fall. Now that all of our teachers are proficient and highly skilled in teaching online, there's certain courses, for example, that maybe we couldn't offer, but we didn't have enough enrollment, in person. But now that we're on Zoom, we can do it across the district, have kids from both buildings and still offer that. So it's opened up a new, it's a new world for us after this now, because, we're going to take the good that we've learned from this, remote environment, because our teachers have really worked hard to build a very robust, online environment for our students. And so take the good from that and recover from the traumatic losses and challenges. So we also have done quite a bit. We have what's called the CARE team, which is a team it's an acronym for Committed to Academics, Resiliency, and Equity. And it kind of encompasses our work towards being our equity work and being more culturally responsive and confronting racism, that might present or those types of things. Plus, also being trauma informed and restorative in our work. So it has a mental health support side of it, and also culturally responsive and inclusive side. And so that team works together to not only provide learning opportunities for staff and students, but also to provide the supports for staff and for students. So we have a lot of what are called listening circles. We use that quite a bit to help people process everything that's happened. Because in addition to the pandemic, we've also had the civil unrest and the racial incidents that have happened since the beginning of the summer. Not that they weren't happening prior to that, but certainly the what's happening in the unrest, across the country, that's affected us in our communities and affected our students. And so we have to be able to help students process through all of that. And so we've done a lot of work in that area right now. So that's also a big focus as we go forward. It has to accompany our work as we head into this, over the next few months.
I think Jean summarized it well, just adjusting and working on all of those topics that are important to us each and every day. That's the love of this profession and this opportunity, is that no 2 days are exactly the same. And new challenges we have today will be different challenges tomorrow, and we problem solve and get it done in what's in the best interest of our staff, students, and parents and community.
Thank you for sharing all of that with us, the positive, as well as I know how hard you are all handling this, and you're doing such a good job to continue to serve our community. So we're wrapping this section up a little bit. What is one thing you want our viewers to know about Addison Trail?
I think certainly the one thing is that Addison Trail is committed to being here to serve our students and our families, and our doors are open. We welcome the feedback from the community and from our parents. We are not afraid to hear things that we need to work on. We're not afraid to hear the challenges. And our administrative team is available, and our doors are open virtually, and hopefully soon in person, to work together with parents in the community to open up more opportunities for our students and support them as they pursue their dreams and their post-secondary goals. And also too, we know that this time is very hard. Especially with the isolation and being even in remote learning, we are very sensitive to the social emotional needs of the students and the families. It's really hard even for the parents that now we've all been home together for a long time, and it's a different dynamic to have. And many are working from home, and we have college kids that have returned and kids home trying to learn, and it can be a very stressful environment. And that we're here to also support parents. We'll be looking, we do have parent advisory groups that meet typically it's after the second board meeting of the month. Then that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we've been trying to do parent meetings on the Tuesday night, student advisory on Wednesdays, and our Latino parents on Thursdays, to then, to also process our next steps, as we continue to move through the stages of our reentry plan. We have our plan is tied to the DuPage County metrics. So we're watching the case counts, and we'll be progressing to bring more kids in person as it's safe to do so. And so, just invite the parents to connect with us in those meetings. But any member of the community and parent that has feedback for us or would like to connect with us to please reach out, that our doors are open.
Yeah, that we, I agree that, we are the high school in this community. We're here to serve the entire community. I look at our job as a service industry. We're here to serve you. So if there's something that we can do better for our community, our parents, our students, we want to hear about it, and so we can make the changes. Because we have 2,000, almost 2,000 students here at Addison Trail, and they all have their own dreams and their own goals. And our job each and every day that we come in is to help those students achieve those dreams. And if there's a better way that we can do something, we want to hear about it. We're always open. Some people feel like the principal's phone and email is wide open. It's okay to email a principal about something. In fact, we want to hear it, and we want to hear from parents, and we want to hear from students. So please reach out to us with anything that you might have. We're a facility in this community that we put a lot of efforts in maintaining it and offering the best education, both with our physical plant as well as our curriculum, the social emotional supports, and the future focus, so that all those students can chase the dreams that they have.
So I think you both kind of touched on these next two questions, but I'll ask them in case there's something else you want to elaborate on. We're clearly meeting virtually because of COVID-19, and we can't be together right now. How has COVID impacted the service you provide, and what have you been doing differently to compensate for these changes?
Oh, wow. So we, in our district, we have obviously kept the safety of our students and our staff at the highest priority. And so we committed early to building the most robust online platform that we could. So we invested quite a bit in the training of our teachers, and we really, at the beginning of the year, this year, we spent several days in intensive training on instructional strategies and how to do assessment and how to use Zoom. And so it has pushed us to find ways to connect with students in this virtual environment. And so we are able now to provide even our group counseling, our individual counseling that we provide students, we're able to do through this format, as well as many of our extracurriculars. We have some videos on our website where you could see the really, the creativity of our staff and our kids to connect with all the different activities, even our sport programs that have not been able to go. We do virtual, conditioning and training, and we have the coaches online working with kids. And so again, it's got its challenges. But you can see our staff has been so relentless in working to keep kids connected during this time. So that continues to be the challenge. And as we move to even more in person, as the level of community transmission still remains substantial in DuPage County, and we know that our communities have been consistently on the high end of the counts. When you look at the counts across the county, we have remained in the high end of those counts. And so that level of community transmission, while, if we follow the protocols on campus, it may not be transmitted on campus. But when there's that level of transmission in the community, it affects our staff who live in the community, and they're battling. Many of our staff members have battled the virus themselves, have battled it at home, and that causes, the need to quarantine. And then it's just the challenges are maintaining a staff in person that we can, where we can, sustain a model where we can continue, to bring kids back. So we're looking for us to move into our next stage of the plan. We're looking to see the numbers in the county to come back into moderate transmission. So that means it would be under 8% positivity rate and under 100 cases per 100,000. And so once that happens, then our next stage is to start to bring small groups of kids in, and our special needs students and some of our extracurriculars. And it's really about cohorting. It's about trying to, keeping kids from mixing, from cross-contaminating by, changing classes a lot and changing locations and passing periods. And so those activities that we can keep kids in one group, those are the easiest to bring back on campus that we can control. And then from there, as things go into minimal transmission, then our next phase is a hybrid for bringing maybe 25% of our kids back in. So we're looking, we're looking forward to, to that opportunity. But, there's just so many aspects of this that's just out of our control, and we're hoping for the best. And also too, with the vaccine distribution, that also gives us it'll just enhance the safety precautions that we have in place and will continue to have in place. But that'll be another factor that will help as that is rolled out here in the next phase.
Yeah, the services that we've offered, in person, we still have to offer remotely. We have to be creative on how we do that, whether that's our free lunch that we provide. We're still providing meals and now it's to all students, regardless of that, whether there are students or not, we're handing out meals to anyone who's 18 and below on Wednesdays, breakfast and lunches to, students who need to see and have seen a social worker or our school psychologist or counselor. We're still doing those. I mean, we're getting ready to welcome the class of 2025 to begin their careers as Addison Trail students. It's something we do every year at this time. So we're still doing it. We just have to do it a little bit differently. We still need that information. We still need to communicate information. We want to welcome them as new Blazers. Our students currently are not in the building, but now it's a time of year when they start selecting courses for next year. So still, it's important for us that, a student still meets one-on-one with a guidance counselor. So we're still setting up meetings for them to have that, as well as our incoming freshmen. As I mentioned, it was important for the parents, the student, and the counselor to meet face-to-face. While we can't meet face-to-face, we're still going to have those meetings individually and privately for them, so we can start building those relationships, albeit through Zoom, but it's still a relationship that we can begin to have with those new families that we'll have coming here. So we're still doing everything we've always done. We just have to reinvent it, be creative, and our staff has been incredibly creative in how we can still provide those services just a little bit differently.
Great. As you mentioned, you've developed so many creative and interesting services throughout the pandemic to compensate. Are any of these that you've developed you think you might keep once you return to regular operations?
As I had shared earlier, I think that the online platform for instruction, for services, I don't think that I don't think it'll ever go away now. I think there'll always be a place for that in some way, whether it's within, there are times when as I had mentioned earlier, there are certain students that do better, working from home or in a remote location because of different, challenges maybe that have happened, or in other cases, students that would have been removed from our environment that, for, on a temporary basis, for example, that, we would still be trying to educate and connect. Right now, we have to depend on outside facilities to do that, or other schools that we have to partner with. But this online platform now, having all of our curriculum now online, all our teachers using Google Classroom, and our all of our assessments available, it has opened up now the possibilities to keep kids connected that maybe confront challenges as we move forward. So I think there's always going to be a place for it in our environment. So that's a big win, I think, for us out of this, if we had a silver lining. And also, as I mentioned, with the parent programming and just the ability to, even in professional development, conferences that would have been a big burden for us to be able to have to pull teachers out of class, or even us as administrators to be out of the district, out of our buildings, to be in learning, different learning opportunities now are online, and we can still connect, without having to travel. Or so there's going to be some cost efficiencies, in the future too, related to some of that, where we see now that, it doesn't have to be this way. There's some things that have to be in person, some things maybe don't, and so there'll be some efficiencies that I think we'll see as, coming out of this. So there's certainly been some good, in this crisis.
Yeah, one thing we heard from the parents very loud and clear is they do love us to have our parent meetings that we have in the evening, to maybe still continue some of those in person and remotely, so they can do it. And parent teacher conferences, an event we all remember when we were kids, going on where parents made appointments and they come in. They really liked if we could also have the option of doing it remotely. It was much more efficient for them and productive to be able to do that. And it was much easier for them to participate, especially if they had multiple students in the high school at one time. So definitely we had some great feedback from students and parents and teachers. So there's definitely some things that will stick.
Wonderful. Well, we've enjoyed getting to know about you as educators as well as what the district is busy doing, but now we'd like to get to know a little bit more about each of you. Can you tell us some of your favorite spots in Addison?
Oh, for me, it largely surrounds, usually around food. That's kind of what it's a big driver for me. And so some of my favorite spots, for Mexican food, La Placita is where is usually my go-to place. And I love Alios pizza. But there's many, many good restaurants, and there's no shortage of really good food in Addison. So lots of, that's, if I would say, those are some of the favorite spots outside of those related to, those connected to the district, but for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. Outside of Addison Trail High School being my favorite spot when I do have to leave campus, just we talked about the diversity of our students in our community and the diversity of the food. I can go anywhere and have just about anything that I'm interested in, within just a matter of a couple of miles of Addison Trail, and it's outstanding. And it's something I don't take for granted, because when I do go home, I don't have that level of diversity and options. And it's wonderful. Sometimes you're not sure what you're in the mood for, and you can just drive Lake Street, and something you'll find that you'll enjoy. And it's great, and it's great to get to know those, and we're so thankful of all of those restaurants and businesses throughout Addison, because they support our students, and our parents are all kind of boosters and fundraisers and events. So it's a great partnership and relationship that we've had over the years.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell it's lunchtime now. I'm thinking about like my different pizza choices, but there are so many, as you said. So what do you usually like to do in your spare time when you're not working?
Well, so I'm a mom, so I have two college students that have been home during the pandemic, and selfishly, I can't say that I'm not happy about that. It's been nice to have them home, but that has taken a lot of time in raising them. And but in terms of my interests, I'm pretty involved with the youth in my church, and I do a lot of traveling with them, just given my language background, and I try to where I can keep up my language proficiency, and those types of opportunities. I help a little bit with in church as well, just with some interpreting, and I play violin, and so that's largely what takes up most of my time outside of work, which there isn't much of that right now. But those are things I would be involved in.
Myself also, family takes up a large part. I have 3 adult children, just one in college now. The others have graduated, and one recently got married. So, continuing on with that, it's a fun, exciting time when you have adult children. So I love that. And I also love, my stress reliever and relaxation is cooking. I love cooking. I love trying new things. I love going to a restaurant and enjoying something and saying, I'm going to try to make that at home, or I think I can do this at home. So I love to do that, and that's usually what I'll find doing on the weekends, is trying something or cooking some things, because Monday through Saturday is usually pretty busy, and Sunday's a day for me to be with family and do some things that I enjoy doing. So it's what you'll find me doing, with an apron and somewhere in the kitchen.
So we wouldn't be in the library. We have to ask, what is your favorite book, and what are you currently reading?
We have been doing book studies, part of our professional development, in our district, as especially for the care team that I mentioned earlier. We have compiled lots of resources to grow, as we are trying to serve students and learn about backgrounds. We really challenge our staff to, given the diversity within the district, to really try to learn about another culture, another religion, another, to just, again, to help with those connections. So our current book study is Why Are All the Black Students Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? It's Beverly Daniel Tatum. And right, Mike, I have that right, the author. And so that's been the current, what we're reading currently, to participate together. And so we try to do that both at the administrative team level, but also among the teachers. So that's a teacher and staff book study that's been led by some of the members of the care team. And so it's just a great learning opportunity. I wish I had more time to read for pleasure, but I have that working mom thing where if I sit down long enough, I'll be falling asleep usually in the evening. So it's hard to find a lot of time to read, but that's what we're working on currently.
Yeah, same thing here professionally. What we're reading here, social justice interests, articles, books, a variety of things to better understand. I have my understanding and my perspective as a white male and two-parent household that grew up, and I love and appreciate my experiences that I've had, but I really want to learn about others and know that not everybody has had the same experiences I've had. And I feel like I can be a better educator, a better husband, a better parent, by understanding all different things. And it's a passion of mine to teach that to my children and have discussions. It's such a current event on our news and in our world now. It's a great opportunity to have powerful conversations at home and professionally that can really shape us and our communities and our world in what I believe is a much better way. So that's professionally. Personally, related to my cooking, I did get some great cookbooks at Christmas. I do love not just cookbooks that are recipe books, but really give you history and stories behind recipes, and found some really great ones that I got that it's really truly a read about it and what it means, or certain regional foods, cultural foods, and the story and history behind that is what I really enjoy doing.
You've got diverse choices there, and they both sound wonderful. So I'm going to ask this question, and your answer cannot be my current job. If you were forced to change careers and weren't limited by necessary skills or income, what would you want to do?
So I think that I was really inspired as I, worked with the groups with the student traveling, the student travel experiences, and how life-changing that is for kids. And so if I were, had no no other obligations, family or income or anything, I probably would go work for one of those companies and travel and take kids on all kinds of trips and all kinds of places, to have different experiences and exchanges and those types of things. I would love to do that. If I had the opportunity, which is probably unlikely, but that's okay. It's good to dream, right?
It's a great question. It's often a question I ask myself, even when I finish growing up. What else do I want to do, right? And what would I do differently? And I feel like I'd still need a couple things. I'd still need people, and I still need education, because I think those are two important things. But maybe a different education. I have a passion for helping people out, family members or myself, of financial education, and knowing that is such an important thing that so many people are missing, or you can make bad mistakes, or you don't understand how to set yourself up. It's not how much money you make, but it's how you manage and deal with those dollars and make right moves. And so I think that would give me the importance of working with people and educating them so that they can have an opportunity to be successful. I think that's the direction. It was a passion of mine I found later in life, well after college. So
Thank you for your answers. Everyone kept telling us I'm already doing my dream job, so we had to shake it up a little bit and have you guys give us something new. So as we wrap up here, is there anything else or one last thing you'd like to say or share with the community of Addison?
I guess I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to spend some time, with you as the library staff, but also with this opportunity to share, what's happening in the district. And again, just to urge, the community to remember that we're here as partners. We are just one of many agencies here to serve and support kids and families. And that we need your collaboration and your help. We can't do it alone. We really couldn't do what we do without that help and support. So we're always open to new ideas for partnerships and joint projects and new ways to connect our families and our kids to the services and supports that are available. So again, please reach out to us and continue to be safe and stay encouraged as we'll get through this for sure, this hard time.
Yeah, it really, we're partners in all aspects of now as well as the future for you and your students. Whatever we can do to help support you, and just like to thank the community of Addison for the opportunity to work here and serve this community. It truly is an honor, and I couldn't imagine being anywhere else other than Addison. I wouldn't trade it for the world, and it's been a wonderful place, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you both so much for joining us today, and thank you for all that you do for our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.